Hey, Jim Roman here, and welcome to another episode of the Jim Roman Show. Today, we're going to be talking about micro to millions tools we've used to help companies go from micros to $1 million companies. Whether you're trying to go to $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million or more, these tools will make the biggest difference. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Number one, do you feel stretched too thin? Do you lose your drive from time to time? Do you feel unorganized? And do you feel like you have too much to do and don't know where to start? If you're having these challenges, then today's episode is for you. We're going to be talking about the tools that we use to help people solve those challenges. If this is your first time to our show, welcome. I'm Jim Roman, helping companies go from micro to millions while having a life. How these episodes go is I will teach and train for 10 to 20 minutes. And then at the end of the episode, if you stick around, I will answer the comments and questions below. So as we go through today's episode, I highly recommend, encourage you to comment below, ask questions below. Whether you're watching this live or recorded, we want those comments and we want that feedback. If you like this and you find value, please subscribe and share it with your network. We would love to reach more people to help build a better business, to build a better life. So let's jump into today's episode. If you joined us last week, the month of March is a series we're doing called Micro to Millions. And last week we talked about how we came up with our micro to millions process. And I thought, what helps people go from a micro company to $1 million company can help any company. So I want to share some of those principles. If you were with us last week, we talked about the beginning of the process is how it came about. You can go look at that episode. But essentially, what I shared last week was how we help companies create a more balanced company. Balance is an acronym that I created out of all the books that I have read over the years. I pulled the table of contents out. And in each of those contents, I noticed what causes business to succeed and what causes them to fail. And through the table of contents, I found there were 8 elements to building a better business, what we call a balanced business. And last week, I shared with the B is for block timing, A is for acquiring clients, L is for leadership, automatic processes, numbers, clarity, employees, and delivery. You can go check out that episode on more of those details. But ultimately, we create an assessment around this to ultimately help people create a more balanced business. I find just like when you're driving a vehicle, if your tires are out of balance, it's going to be a difficult journey. It's going to be a bumpy journey, if you will. Whether if your tires are balanced, you're going to have a smooth journey. And knowing what to work on first makes a big difference. Now, I'm not sure which you work on first, whether it be leadership, block timing, acquiring clients, delivery. I highly recommend you reach out to us. We'd be more than glad to offer you a complimentary coaching session to work on your challenges that you're facing today in your business and possibly in your life. Today, I want to specifically talk about the tools that we've helped people to get past struggle, get past being unorganized, going to the next level. And so I'm so glad you're here to join us. So let's talk about the first tool. The first tool that I want to talk about is the 5 drivers. The 5 drivers. Do you ever find yourself from time to time, you've lost your momentum, you've lost your drive, you feel kind of bummed out? Cool, me too. I'm not always this happy. Those people who see me, I'm a pretty pleasant person, but I'm not always this excited and driven. And there are times where I want to just go back to bed and not get out of bed. In fact, someone recently asked me, Jim, when you have a difficult day and you've hit a bunch of demons, you've hit a wall, what do you do to get past those demons, get past that wall? Well, I go back to the 5 drivers. I ask myself this very important question. Why do I do what I do? What is my purpose and passion? You've heard me talk about this countless times in my talks throughout the country, on webinars, seminars that I've done for organizations and associations, and right here live on our Jim Roman Show. Is one of the things I try to remind myself constantly is what is my purpose and passion on this planet? In fact, I would love to ask you that question and comment below if you don't mind. If you would share with me, why do you do what you do? What is your purpose and passion? I'd love to share mine while you're commenting below, whether again, you're watching this live or recorded, I would love to know that. For me, if you asked me years ago why I did what I do, I would say I want to help out business owners. But if you would ask me again, Jim, no, really, why do you do what you do? I would say I want to help owners and their teams have more money and have more time. Then I'd go further and I'd say, then have a life. You've heard me say this. But if you really want to know my purpose and passion, what pushes me through just about anything is I do what I do to help people get closer to God. Whether you believe in God or not, I believe if you give back to yourself, to your family, your community, you show love to each other, you're getting closer to God. That is my purpose and passion. I just happen to use business coaching and consulting as my ministry, as my vehicle to convey that message. If you're in real estate, why are you in real estate? A lot of times I ask realtors why they do what they do, and they go, well, we'll make money. But if you dig deeper, the most passionate realtors, property managers, contractors I know do it to make a difference. I remember talking to a landscaper, and I asked her why she did what she did. She goes, I love landscaping. I love putting my hands in the dirt. But when we dug deeper into her purpose and passion, because she was burnt out, by the way, she built a very successful business, but she was getting tired. Are you getting tired in your business? I encourage you to ask yourself your purpose and passion. So as I dug deeper in asking her why she did what she did, she says, I want to help people get connected to the earth. I said, what? She says, in landscaping, when you come home from a hard day and you drive up your driveway and you see your beautiful landscape, and all of a sudden you have this sense of peace, this sense of connection to the earth. That is why I do what I do. And I got to tell you, that was amazing. I've never heard a landscaping company ever say that. Reminds me working with a hardscaping company, formerly a landscaping, grew to $1 million or more hardscaping company. We asked the exact same question to Josh. Josh, why do you do what you do? And Josh shared, I want families to enjoy the outdoors together. Being out in nature with your family and your friends is just a part of living life. And I want to create that place for those families to do that. I was like, wow, I've never heard a hardscape, landscape pool company ever talk about that. And so if you're having a difficult time now and in your life, whether you own a company, work for the company, partner with companies, if it were me, I would really want to get back to one of my first drivers is, why do you do what you do? The second question I always get people to ask is, where do they want to be beyond the business? I won't go into that. We've covered that in other episodes, but essentially it comes down to, what are your dreams and your aspirations? Your dreams and your aspirations. So again, one of the tools that we use is the 5 drivers tools that I'm talking about. If you would like a copy of the 5 drivers and any of the tools that we're talking about today, go to my website at jimromanonline.com, click on our programs, and download the Start Here program. It's a free program that will give you access to these tools and videos on using these tools in more detail, if that would be of value to you. Please go to jimromanonline.com, click on programs, and then the Start Here program if you want a copy of that complimentary from us. So if I'm asking myself, why do I do what I do, my purpose and passion, and then ultimately I want to ask myself, where do I see myself in the future, my dreams and aspirations, and reconnecting to those two things, these tools I find for a lot of people, regardless of where you are in your company, makes the biggest difference. If you're not thinking about your dreams and aspirations and working towards your dreams and aspirations, then I'm going to say you're probably going to hit a wall. Next, a part of the 5 drivers is what? What do I want my organization to look like? What do I want my position to look like within my company? And one of the tools that we use to do this is what we call the 5 functions of a business. The 5 functions, if you've been in previous episodes, are simply 1, bringing in business, hiring and training, getting the work done, admin, finance, and creating raving fans. This is a great tool for getting organized, organizing your thoughts, organizing your business, etc. One of the things that I do, regardless of what your position in your company is, one of the things that I love to do is to get the things out of my mind down on paper. And so I'll take this 5 function tool and I'll create 5 columns. And to get organized, to get a sense of peace, to get a sense of control, I'll ask myself, what do I have to do to bring in business? Well, I need to start networking again. I need to follow up on leads. I need to have a better closing process. I need to have a welcoming process. For those of you who are in charge of hiring and training, I might be writing job descriptions, creating an org chart. Or if you're in charge of onboarding and orientating your clients coming on board, what do you need to do there? And then getting the work done operationally, physically, people-wise, then admin, finance related, and then ultimately creating raving fans. I love this 5 function tools because it takes what's in my mind and put it down on paper. One of my favorite quotes is Einstein, is quote of saying, the brain is for thinking, not for storing. Again, the brain is for thinking, not for storing. Stop trying to run your life in your head. I'll say that again. You know who I'm talking to right now. You're probably driving while watching this episode. Stop trying to run your life in your head. Get it down on paper, whether it's understanding your 5 drivers, what's going to get you out of bed in the morning or push you through the most difficult times of your life, or the 5 functions, getting what you need done down on paper. I'm going to pause here for a moment because I feel like I'm teaching and preaching, and you better believe it. Today is the day, because I am super excited about these tools, because I hope just one tool makes a difference for you and not feeling so stretched so much, so often, that I know I'm doing, again, my purpose and passion on the planet. Again, please comment below, question below. At the end of the episode, when we finish up, I will look at those comments so that if you stick around or even watch the recording later, hopefully I can address those questions. So then, moving on, one of the tools is that I like to use is the organizational chart or organizational structure, part of the 5 functions, where you start to divisionize, departmentalizing your business. If you're in property management, which I do a lot of property management work around the country, I teach them to start to divisionize and departmentalize, or a hybrid of that, if you will. And some of those functions are under listings, they're under move in, move outs, or make readies, and then eventually maintenance. If you're in construction, I might suggest that you have small jobs, large jobs, and projects. If you're in real estate, I might have my real estate residential division and my commercial division. If I'm in insurance, life insurance, property casualty insurance, and group benefits insurance, breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. In other words, running a business within the business if you work for a company, or departmentalizing and divisionizing your company if you own the company. I would go so far as to even break it down to, in the property management industry, into actual property managers, because eventually I can turn those property managers into their little businesses within their business. So again, a great tool for me is the organizational structure. This is great, again, for hiring. This is great for planning. This is great for developing your people. One of the things I love to talk about when it comes to organizational structure and stability, an org chart, is going for green. If your team is not mean and green, then you're not going to get where you want to go. And how you get people green is by developing those people. Another tool that I'll briefly talk about is the Eml model. The Eml model is something I created years ago. For those of you who know my background, I was raised in my parents' restaurant. And I learned from my parents how to essentially run the restaurant. And then I got into the military, Air Force, got out, went back into the restaurant business, now in another state. And really never knew much about running a business until I started my own business in 1996. I realized over time, I was really good at entrepreneurial stuff and technical stuff. I'm referencing the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber. He talks about the 3 types of business personalities. There is the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. And in owning a business or running a business, you need to manage the technician, the person who gets the work done, the manager that makes sure that all things are going straight, and the entrepreneur who's expanding the business. When I read this book, and plus some other books, I realized I wasn't good at managing. I was never taught how to manage, essentially. I was taught how to lead, I was taught how to do, but I was never taught how to manage. And so the EML model is a great tool called the employee, manager, leader levels. Do you have an employee mentality, or a manager mentality, or a leader mentality? Do your people, what kind of mindset do they have? What type of mentality do they have? And so the EML model, what I love about it is there are things that you need to learn as an employee. There are things that you need to learn to be a better manager. And then ultimately, there are things that you could do and should do and learn to be a leader. And not all things are the same or equal. Finally, the last tool that I want to talk about today is the strategic map. If you want to find out about the whole complete program, again, go to our website at Jim Roman Online, click on programs, and look into the strategic planning map. I don't have time to go into the entire map, but I want to go into ultimately, how do you get things done? So often people say, hey, Jim, I'm overwhelmed. Where do I begin? And I always say, one step at a time, one action at a time. Very similar to how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you run a marathon? One step at a time. How do you get your stuff done? One waypoint at a time. As part of the strategic planning process, the strategic planning tool, there is a section what we call waypoints. Waypoints are milestones in your business and or work that you work towards the bigger picture. I'll give you an example of this. If you're going to take a trip from, say, here, Orlando, Florida, say to Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania, let's just say Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. How would you go from Orlando, Florida to Pennsylvania, or from Pennsylvania to Ohio? You would set waypoints along the way to go to the bathroom, to take a break, to get gas. Those are essentially milestones or waypoints along the journey. You would most likely won't drive straight from Orlando to Pennsylvania, which is what, 12-hour drive, maybe more. You would want to set milestones or waypoints. Well, how do you get your work done? How do you achieve your goals? One step at a time. Let's talk about the business waypoint. If it were me and I were you, and I was trying to take the next step, I would ask this question: given where I want to be in the future, and where am I today, what's most important for me to do next? I'll say that again. If I have a deadline, say 2 weeks from now, say I have a goal by the end of this year, and I'm here today, what's the next step, the next action, the next waypoint do I need to take to get me one step closer? Do I need to bring in more business? Do I need to hire more people? Do I need to mentor my people? Do I need to put process in place? These are the kind of questions that I would be asking myself to take the next step, the next bite, the next milestone or waypoint. So I know we covered a lot in a short period of time, but I just want to go back and talk about these tools one more time as to the benefits of them and where and when you can use them. I know I've been talking pretty fast. As you can see, I'm pretty excited because we ultimately help companies on a regular, consistent basis with all the tools and other tools that I haven't talked about today to help them get from where they are today to where they want to be in the future. So if you're feeling down and depressed, you don't feel driven, I highly recommend you go back to watching or reading the 5 drivers that I talked about earlier, somewhere here on my desk. Ask yourself why you do what you do, where you want to be, and what do you need your business or your position to look like. I promise you, if you revisit those questions, it will make a big difference. Second, do you feel unorganized? I highly recommend the 5 functions. The 5 functions of a business allow you to get your thoughts down on paper and get them organized. We didn't talk about block timing. You can go to my blog. I talk about how to create more time, save time to make more time. It talks about block timing, but block timing allows you to get those things that you're not getting to done. And I just want to, I read your mind just now. If it were me and I were you, I would be blocking time to get stuff done, time that no one else gets. I've shared years ago about my block timing when I was building a big business, had 2 franchises in Virginia, and I was getting overwhelmed. And I was introduced to block timing. Block timing is just a focused amount of time on a particular task for a period of time to be effective. And I remember blocking out my Thursday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. that nothing got scheduled there. Made the biggest difference. Because what would happen is if I didn't take that time Thursday mornings, I would get overwhelmed, start to stress out, and worry about the weekend and work into the weekend. I never took time for myself. And block timing is the oxygen to the people that I know. Oxygen is important, and so is block timing. I didn't realize how important that block of time for me, my time, to do what I want to do time was until it was taken away. Someone invited me to join a networking group. I joined the networking group. It happened to be Thursday mornings, and all of a sudden my stress level went up. I started working weekends again, and I said, what changed? And I realized I took my time for me time away. Now, just so you know, Fridays are my day. I take the whole Friday for follow-up Friday, do whatever I want to do Friday, then it makes a big difference so I don't have to work on the weekends. Are you taking time for yourself? Are you blocking at least 2 hours a week that no one can have but you to do what you want to do, but sleeping in, going for a walk, taking a nap, or getting work done, or getting bills done, or getting whatever you wanted done? Guilt-free time for you. That's for you, because I just knew you thought about that. I had to say that. And then the final tool that we talked about is setting waypoints, setting milestones. Again, I highly recommend you download the Start Here documents that goes into a lot of these tools. Check out the strategic planning, strategic map tool as well. It has waypoints in there as well as a strategic planning template. Because ultimately, what I want from you today, or those who are watching this tomorrow, is to build a better business, to build a better life. And it only happens when you work on your business, not in your business. A book I highly recommend if you haven't read yet, regardless of what you do for a living, who you work for a living, if you own a company, is Built to Sell. John Warlow wrote this book. It's very powerful. It isn't about selling your business. It's about positioning it to be able to be sold. And helps you to become indispensable for the people around you. I don't care if you're a property manager, a maintenance supervisor, an owner of a company, a general manager of a company, a realtor. Always developing our knowledge and learning from others. You'll see the book behind me, Effective Executive. Someone asked me about this. I love this book. I read this years ago by Peter Drucker. It's about being ruthless with your time. If you're stretched too thin, it's because you're not taking time for yourself. And that pains me. It truly pains me. I know you hear me right now. So if there is one favor I can ask of you, is that the next 7 days, I want you to block 1 hour. I want 2, but I'll take 1. That you shut everything off and you just sit quietly and ask yourself, what is the most important thing that you need to get done right now? Let me say that again. I'm asking you a favor to take over the next 7 days, 1 hour, that you shut everything off, your computer, your voicemails, your emails, your cell phones, 1 hour. That's all I'm asking. And sit there and ask yourself, what is the most important thing I need to get done right now? And whatever comes to mind, do that. Guilt-free, worry-free. And I bet you any money, the universe will move in your direction. You will start to see the light, and you will start to build that better life I want for everyone. I want to thank you for being a part of our episode today. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. Please comment below. Please share and like. Love to see you in future episodes. Again, I'm Jim Roman. The more you know, the more we grow.